This is the 555 multi-harmonic oscillator kit. It uses an NE555 timer to double flash some lamps. And this is the 5mm simple flash LED kit. Both of these are DIY soldering kits that I recently purchased on AliExpress. The kit in my left hand cost me just 99p, and the kit in my right hand cost just 60p, including all delivery, taxes, and discounts. I thought it'd be fun to do both of these kits in this video and compare to see how they work. So let's take a look inside and see what you get. Okay, so we don't have any instructions with this kit, but we do have this tiny little PCB. So this is a typical multivibrator or flip-flop circuit. This is based on 2 transistors, a couple of capacitors and resistors for timing, and then it's going to flash the LEDs alternately. We can see this is a very simple, very tiny little PCB here. As I mentioned, these circuits are based on some transistors, and these are the 2 transistors that are included with this kit. And here we can see these are 9014 transistors. The kit also includes these 2 electrolytic capacitors, and these are both 22 microfarad. Hopefully that's going to come across on the camera. We have 2 types of resistors here, and the first one here is a 33K, and we can see that by looking at the color bands. So we have orange, orange, orange with a gold tolerance band, and so that's 3, 3, and 3 additional zeros for 33K. And on these ones, we have a green band, a brown band, and another brown band. So that gives us 5, 1 with 1 additional 0 for 510 ohms. The kit includes 2 LEDs. We'll find out what color these are once we turn them on, which we'll do later in the video. And it includes some wire as well that we can use for powering the device. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are no instructions, but we do have all of the required component values marked here on the PCB, so that's going to make it fairly easy to install. So let's go ahead and get started. First up, I'm going to install the resistors here. I'm going to start off with these 510s. We've already identified the components, that's the ones with these green bands, and because they're on the brown bodies, they're quite easy to see, so I do prefer those. Okay, those resistors are installed, and they're just going to be providing the current limiting for the diodes here, the LEDs. So let's put in the next resistors, the 33Ks, just here. Okay, and those are our 33K resistors. That's used in combination with the capacitors to create an RC timing circuit. So let's put those capacitors in next, since they go in the middle. Now, these are the first components that we need to put in a polarized direction. As I've already mentioned, they are 22 microfarad, but also they have one side of the can is marked with this stripe with a negative symbol inside it, and that's associated with the shorter leg. And on the PCB, the negative side is the shaded side, and there's a tiny little plus sign on the PCB, which is associated with the longer leg. Okay, so there you can see I had bridged the capacitors. I mean, they're still bridged actually further up, but I managed to bridge them because the legs were crossed over when I inserted them. So possibly something to do one at a time, but I've just swept the solder up, and when I cut off these legs, then they'll be well out of the way. And there we go. If we look on the board, we can see these should not be bridged, so it's important that I manage to separate those. Next up, let's install our transistors here. And you'll see the silk screen has this chamfered edge on the outline, and that is supposed to match the profile of the transistor. And we wiggle the transistor down to a comfortable level. Okay, and finally, we're going to put in these LEDs just here. Now, LEDs must go in the right way round, and what you can do is you can use a CR2032 coin cell battery to work out which side is positive. And if you use the cell here, you can see on the outside we have a plus sign, and if we place that against the longer leg, we can see that these LEDs are in fact blue, so that's quite nice. And of course, if we put it around the other way, it wouldn't illuminate because LEDs are directional. So we now know the long leg is positive, which is the typical alignment for an LED. And if we look carefully, we probably see a slightly chamfered edge on there as well. So it's slightly flatter on that side. It's going to be hard to see on the camera. But if we look inside the LED, you should be able to see the larger piece of metal is actually on the shorter leg. Now, none of these on their own are definitive. They are the typical arrangements, but of course you can always check with a battery. Now you notice on the board there's an arrow. The arrow goes from the long leg from the positive side to the negative side, and you'll see there's actually a flattened edge just here as well, which matches the negative side of the LED. So I'm going to solder just one leg on each of the LEDs, and this will help us make sure they're aligned properly. Okay, and you can see these are a little bit crooked, especially this one on the left here. And so what I'm going to do is push my finger against the LED and heat up the joint to flatten it against the board. So now we can solder the other leg. Now we need to install the power wires, and these will just go in here. Now we could go ahead and snip the ends off these leads, and we would snip off whichever end we would prefer not to use. So if we wanted to plug it into, say, a breadboard, then we want to make sure we cut off the socket ends and vice versa. But in this case, I'm actually just going to use two small bits of wire because I'm going to connect this to my power supply. So here I'm using the black wire for ground and the red wire for VCC, which is the power connector. Now I'm just going to tin these wires as they are untinned currently. And then we just pop them in the relevant places on the board. Okay, so let's add some power. My adjustable power supply just here. And let's start it off around 5 volts, I think. That'll do. Black wire to ground, red wire to VCC. And there we go. We have a very attractive little flashing LED kit. And so as I mentioned, this is based on a typical flip-flop circuit. And I'll provide a link in the description to more about these circuits. But now we've seen this one operating, let's have a look at our 555 based circuit and see how that one operates as well. So this is the 555 kit. Let's take a look inside and see what you get. Okay, so this kit does include some instructions. Of course, they're in a language I can't read, but it does give us a bill of materials and we can see what we're expecting to have. And so we can see that we have a PCB. This is our little PCB. Looks pretty neat. It's got all the component markings on there, just like the previous one, which is quite nice. It's a slightly larger PCB than the previous one we just soldered, but not by much. We can see we should have a 4.7 microfarad capacitor. That'll be one of these electrolytics. We should have a 100K resistor. We should have an 8-pin socket by the looks of it. That'll be this here. We should have a 103 capacitor. That'll be our ceramic capacitor just down here. Two 200 ohm resistors. So I'm assuming these ones are the ones that are paired together. We should have two 5mm LEDs. We have two different colors, red and green. We should have an NE555 chip, which is the chip just here, the IC. We should have a 10 microfarad capacitor. That'll be one of our other electrolytics just here. We should have a 2K resistor and one, I'm not sure what that's listing. I guess that must be the speaker as it's the only thing that's left. So this must be saying speaker. Importantly, it also tells us the kit runs at 4.5 to 6 volts. So the 5 volts that we just used for the last kit will be absolutely fine. So let's go ahead and assemble this PCB. So let's start off with the resistors. The first thing we want to do is make sure we're putting in our resistors in the correct places. Now there should be two 200 ohm resistors down here, and this is for current limiting of our LEDs. And I'm guessing that these two are those resistors. And if we look closely, we can see we have red, black, black, and black with a brown tolerance band. So that gives us 2, 0, 0 with 0 additional zeros for 200. We're also looking for our 2K resistor and our 100K resistor. So we know our 2K resistor is going to start with a red band. So this one is red, black, black, and brown. That second black band is a little hard to see there, but it is there. Red, black, black, and brown. So 200 with one additional 0 for 2000. And we have our 100k resistor here, which is brown, black, black, and orange. So 100 with 3 additional zeros for 100k. Of course, if we have a multimeter, we can go ahead and test our resistors. So I popped this one in the 200k range because we need something that's going to be higher than the value we want to test. And so let's check our 100k resistor first, which should be this one. Just place it across the probes, and we're getting 95 point something, so pretty good, 100k. We also have a 2k resistor. We can leave it on this mode, but it won't give us a very high resolution. So let's put it across, and you can see we're getting 1.9. If we want a more accurate reading, we can turn it down to the 20k range here. So we need something that's above 2000 to read a 2000 resistor. And there you go, we're getting more resolution. We're seeing 1.94, 1.93. Okay, and finally we can test our 200 ohm resistors. And again, we want to make sure we're on a higher value, so we can't use the 200 range. And we're just going to put just one of these resistors across. And there you go, we're getting 199. So if I put it on the 200, I'll probably see that over limit. So let's turn it down and see what happens. So it's just about reading it. It's saying about 193 points, I think 194 maybe. So now we've identified our resistors, let's put them all on the board. So let's do our ceramic capacitor next. We have a 103 marking just here on the board. And that's going to match our capacitor here, which hopefully you can see is also marked 103. If you have one of these component testers, of course, you can test your capacitor as well. Just make sure it's in 2 different sockets here. So let's run the tester. And we're getting 15 nanofarads, and this should be around 10. So this is actually performing at a higher capacitance value, but that's going to be absolutely fine in our circuit. Next up, let's put in our socket. It's probably the next lowest profile component left. And if we look at the socket, you'll see there's a little indentation out of it on the left-hand side as I'm holding it. So hopefully you can see that there. There's a little notch that doesn't show up on the other side. And that should line up with this little notch that we see on the PCB silk screen. Now next I'm going to do these capacitors here, these electrolytics, and as I mentioned, these are of 2 different values, so let's take a closer look at them. So these have very small printing on them, but this is a 10 microfarad capacitor, so that one needs to go in the 10 microfarad socket. And if we look, we can see there is a negative sign on the can, and that's associated with the shorter leg. The shorter leg goes to the shades area, the longer leg is positive and goes to the part marked positive. That's the 10 microfarad at the bottom, and the positive is on the lower side. So that's where the longer leg goes. So that means our other capacitor should be the 4.7 microfarad. And if we look closely here, hopefully you can see that says 4.7 microfarad. Again, same situation, can is marked negative, which is the shorter leg. And if we look at the board, we can see 4.7 microfarad, positive is on the left-hand side, so that's where the longer leg goes. And there we go. And again, I managed to bridge the legs on those capacitors just again there. These very narrow spaced capacitors are not working well for me. Maybe it's a combination of my solder, the tip I have on my iron, which is bigger than the usual one I would use. It could be any combination of things, but it could just be poor technique. So again, make sure you don't have any bridges on your capacitors, but it's interesting that I've seen that happen twice in this video. Next up, I'm going to do the LEDs. Now, as before, we can verify polarity using the coin cell. So the longer leg is positive, no surprise there. And that's true on the red one as well. If we look on the board, this one is marked slightly differently, but the positive side is marked in very small text. There you go, there are different ways round. So both have the negative pointing towards the center of each other. So the negatives are paired together, and the positive is on the right for LED 2 and on the left for LED 1. So make sure we get those the right way around. Which color goes where is inconsequential, so we'll just pop them in whichever way they happen to fall in. So there you go, I've gone for green for LED 2 and red for LED 1. But again, as I mentioned, the negatives are going towards the center here, the positives are on the outside. And finally, we have to put the speaker in. And again, the speaker has a marked polarity here. Hopefully you can see it's black on black, so a little bit hard to see, but there you go. Hopefully you can see that reflecting in the light. And the board is marked with a plus sign on the left-hand side here. Now, of course, we need some wire. This kit doesn't include any, so I've got some of my own again. So let's just go ahead and tin the ends. Here we can see it says 5 volts, positive on the right, negative on the left. Okay, and finally, we have to insert our IC. So we need to just flatten out these legs a little bit, and so they're more square. So we're just going to roll it on the table, just gently, so we square them off slightly. And then we're going to go ahead and pop it in the board. Yeah, that notch on the left-hand side there needs to align with the notch on the silk screen. And of course, the notch in the holder as well. Keep everything aligned. So we gently place this in the socket, make sure everything looks good. There we go, and push it home. So let's bring our power supply back in again, and let's try this one. And of course, this has a speaker, so it's likely to make some audible tone as well. So let's see what happens. Black to black, which is on the negative, and red to red, which is on the 5 volt for positive. And there we go, this one's flashing as well. And as it flashes, it's causing the speaker to click. So let's just, for fun, compare the two circuits. We should be able to connect them both at the same time as they're running at roughly the same voltage. Just to keep them together, I'm going to tack these wires together. So negative here, positive here, and there we go. We have our two flashing LED circuits. So in the video description, I'm going to have links to both of these circuits for you to learn more about them. But I hope you found this video interesting, and I hope to speak to you again soon in the next one.